Hello friends of the Teeworlds, Dragons here, and today I have a special video about Teeworlds server-side dummies for you. I'm going to show you how you can code your own dummies, your own dummy modes, so that the dummies move around and do some stuff, the stuff you want them to do. And we are going to use the DDNet++ source base created by Dragon based on DDNet, based on DDRace, based on Teeworlds. Yeah, and this source base already has some dummies implemented. You can connect them as admin on the server with the chat command /dummy and then the amount of dummies you want to connect. But yeah, that's another topic, how you use the DDNet++ mod. I'm just going to show you how you can create your own dummies and where in the code you have to make some changes, and there are not too many coding skills required. I'm also very bad at coding, and it's very simple, just some basic things you have to know, and then it's really easy. So first of all, we want to get the source base. We get them from github.com, and there we search for DDNet++. It's DDNetPP, and then there's this repository children/DDNetPP. This is what we are using today, and we want to clone or download here and download the zip. Then it's downloading. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and you also need something to edit the source code. I use Visual Studio, the community edition for this, but you can use any text editor. Yes. So let's show it in the folder. Then we want to unzip it and put it on the desktop. Yep. Yeah. So you should know how to compile a source code. I'm not going to show it in this video. There are many other videos or tutorials in the web. I can link some in the description. Yes. So first of all, we want to compile it. Yeah, can try the compiler and type server release. If you're having Visual Studio in the correct version, this is already going to work, and it's compiling. But does it work? Yeah, it's looking okay. Well, we will see. Oh yeah, I didn't test it yet, so it says link DDNetPP, which is great. So it's done, it's building. Yes, if you get any errors here, you probably need some compilers and Visual Studio. You can also use MingW and whatever, but I'm not going to explain how this works in this video. Yes, so let's go on. And now we want to go to the dummy code. We want to edit the source now, and that's why we are going into the source folder, then into game, server, entities, and then we want to open the character.cpp, which stands for C++, which is the programming language the server is written in. Yes. Okay, as I said, I'm editing it with Visual Studio, but you can use any text editor you want. Yes, it's just like Visual Studio on Windows. It has some nice syntax highlighting and stuff and whatever. Yeah. Then we want to search for the dummy mode. Command F, or yeah, you should know how to search text in your editor. And then we type dummy mode equals 0. So you want to type exactly the same thing, dummy mode space 2 equals and another space and 0. And then we see here we are in the function dummy tick, so this function gets executed every server tick, and it checks if the player is a dummy. So this code only affects T's that are marked as a dummy. And in this if branch here, wait, this one, we have the code for if player is in dummy mode 0. So this code in here, or this code until here, gets executed if the T is in dummy mode 0, which is the default mode. And yeah, some C++ basics. First of all, if you know nothing about coding, I suggest you watch some really basic videos. You should know what are variables, what is an integer and bool, and what is an if branch, and what are comments. But I'm going about it a little bit. So this is a comment. This line here never gets executed. It's ignored by the compiler, and it's not going to be converted into some machine instructions. Also, we have multi-line comments with this, so this gets all ignored, and in Visual Studio it's green. And yes, so we can see all this here are comments, and these are instructions and examples how you can use the dummy code. As you can see here, we have set weapon, and this, if we just write without the comment in front, we write set weapon, and don't forget the semicolon at the end of the line. And then we write in here a 0. Then the dummy switches to hammer every tick. And if you want to switch to gun, we use the 1 and the 2 for a shotgun, and the 3 for grenade, and the 4 for rifle. Yeah. All right. Okay, that's about weapons. And then we have aiming. Well, aiming is a bit complicated. We have this input target X. Well, let me type it. Underscore input dot underscore target X. You have to be really careful with the small and big letters, because it's all case sensitive here in coding. So we can set a value here, let's say 200, and don't forget the semicolon at the end of a line of an instruction. Yes, and we can always test if it's working. If you did any changes, it's always good to test if the server still boats. So save the file, and then here press the compile again, and as you can see, it's still working. So but now it's not, this code is a bit unfinished, because we didn't set the latest input, which is pretty useful on target settings, because it really gets confused if there's only the input set and not the latest input. I'm not sure why this is, but you can get some really weird errors later on if you want to shoot things and strange things happen. So always set the latest input on targeting. And let me explain how it's worked. Do I have some paint here? Yes, I have. Great. You might know, yes, so wow, that's ugly. Let's draw something here. That's the T in the center here. Ooh, nice looking T. And we have some coordinates here. So that's a coordinate system here, and we have the y-axis and the x-axis here. And you might know this from school. So it's negative here, -1, -2, and so on, and positive here. And so you would think that it's also positive here and negative down there, but that's not true. In coding, well, not always, but sometimes it gets swapped. So the above the T, it gets negative. So these values here, the coordinate system is the other way around. You know it from the school in this case. So don't get confused with this. And now we have our targets here. So we set target X as 200 let's assume that I used 100 steps here. So x is 200. It's here on this lane, and if we set well, let's copy that, paste it in here, and change this to y. And we set this also to 200. Then the t is looking at, so we go here 200 and 200. So that's the point where the t is looking at. It's like in-game where your cursor is positioned, and so the eyes are looking down here. Or hard skills. So that's the position you are aiming at. Yeah, so if you want to aim up, you have to, or straight up, you have to set x to a very low value, let's say 1. Don't use 0 because it gets confused with 0 values, because you can't aim in your head and there's no direction if you aim somewhere here. So use x1, and that's somewhere here, and y use minus 300, so that's here, and then we have this point and the t is looking straight up. A little bit right, but 1 is like, it's not counting, so it's pretty straight. Alright, so I hope you understood that, and now it's looking to the right and down, as I showed to you in the quick drawing. Yeah, we can leave this code here. Yeah, what do we have else? Yeah, here it's also explained some sample aimings. Okay, then we have moving. As showed here, we have hooking, jumping, and walking. So we type input always within capital I, input dot hook. And yeah, we can, this is an integer. If you know something about coding, then it's an integer. We can set it's in pool, I don't know, but this variable only takes the values 1 and 0, and 1 is hooking and 0 is not hooking. So if we set this to 1, it's like you hold your right key or whatever, you binded your hook in game on Teeworlds all the time. So if this T connects on the server, it's going to hook, and if it's hooking the air, it's not going to hook again, because it's like you're holding your mouse all the time. Yes, and if it grabs something, it never releases it, except it's a T, because yeah, you know how Teeworlds works. All right. Yes, and then we have the jump input. We can also set it to 1 to jump, and to 0 to don't jump. And also the same, it's like you're holding space or whatever key you bind on your Teeworlds to jump. It only will jump once, and then there's a release of the jump key needed to jump again. So this code, if we connect T with in this dummy mode, it's only going to jump once, and then it's like holding the jump key. But if you put him in freeze and unfreeze him again, he will jump again. Yes. Then we have the direction. If we set this to 0, it's not moving at all. -1 is moving to the left, and 1 is moving to the right. Yes. And if we leave the code like this, m_input dot m_direction equals 1, semicolon, don't forget it. And we connect the dummy now, it's always going to walk to the right. Always, never stopping, because this code gets executed every tick. And yes. So then we have shooting. Shooting is a bit tricky. We have m_input.m_fire, and we don't set it to 1 because it's incrementing all the time to I don't know why it's doing that, but it is. So we want to increment the fire, and in C++ we have this nice shortcut here just type plus plus after the variable name. But by shooting, in shooting, we also want to set the latest input, because I don't know. So we also want to type m_latest input dot m_fire plus plus. So if you connect this dummy in this mode how it is currently, it's going to look down and to the right, and it's shooting all the time, non-stop. Yes. Okay, but that's great so far. So we have some simple sample inputs to, but they are always executed, so there's no changes and whatever. And now we come to the interesting stuff, conditions. If you know something about programming, this is an if branch, and you might know how it works. But if not, it's not so complicated. So I go quickly over it. We have this syntax here. It says if, then we put here a condition in it. So we say true. Then this code in these curly brackets gets executed. And if this condition is false, then this won't be executed. Yes. And there's also an else, which gets executed if the previous block or branch didn't was false. So in this case, this gets executed, and this doesn't get executed. Yes. And if we write a true here, it's the other way around. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Well, so not executed. That was a quick overview about if branches. I hope you understood something if you didn't know something about it. Yes, and we have this variable m_core dot m_pose position. That's short for position dot x, and this holds the x position in the map from the t. So and it's not the tile index, it's the actual position on a tile. So it's 32 times bigger than more precise than non-tile index. So if we want to check if the bot is on the map on the left side of the map on the well wait, I need some data again to explain this. So this is our map, and if we want to check if the dummy is in this left let's mark it in this left green area, and we say that this is position 10. This is the 10th tile from here. It's 0 0, and it's growing bigger in this directions. That's why the coordinate system swapped. So it gets lower if you go up, and you might know it if you're used to with the map editor. Yes. And if you want to check if the dummy is somewhere in this area of the map, we check if the position of the bot is smaller than 10. And that's what we are doing here. The position of the bot is in this variable, m_core dot m_pose.x, and then we check if this is smaller than 10, and we multiply it by 32 because we want to use tiles and not the actual position, because one tile is 32 ever things big, so a t can be in 32 places on the tile on the x-axis only. Yes. Okay, so this code in here gets executed if the bot is in the first 10 left tiles of the map, which is written here in the comment. And if we uncomment this line here, the bot walks to the right, if it's in this area, it walks to the right, and if we uncomment this line, it walks to the left if it's in somewhere else. So somewhere else in the map means like everywhere here. So basically what's going to happen now is it's going to the right here, in this green area, and in this orange area it's going to the left. So the bot is always trying to walk to the 10th tile in the map. Yes, and you can use this to do other things in here. You can jump in here if it's higher than whatever or lower than whatever. If you want to check the heights, just use an Y here instead of an X, and then you can put all the input variables we covered before in here. Yeah, that's the basic dummy coding we can do now, and depending on the position in the map. I hope you understood something. If you want to see more about dummy coding, I can do another video, but I guess it's a good starting point. I hope so. Yes, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. And yeah, that's it for today. Alright, okay, bye guys.